everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 2-bike platform rack right here on our 2020 Audi SQ5. So the Kuat Sherpa is one of your more premium bike racks, but not as pricey as the Kuat NV. It's definitely what you would get if you want something stylish, works really well, has nice, smooth, graceful movements, and has all the premium features you would expect from a Kuat bike rack. So one of the features we're going to take a look at first is the tilt away feature. We have a lever right over here. You're going to want to pull that lever and notice how it just glides down to a tilt. Why would you tilt your bike rack away? Well, if you want to access your hatch without having to take your bikes off, this is what you would do. As you can see, there's so much clearance between our door and our pedals and our handlebars, allowing us to reach into our trunk and grab whatever we need. So whether we need our helmet, our bags, our waters, we can grab them real quick without having to take the time to take our bikes off. And once you got what you need, you just lift this up and it snaps into place, and just like that, you're ready to hit the road again. Alright, so the way our bike is mounted to this bike rack is we have two mounting points. One is going to be the wheel strap in the back that's holding down your rear wheel, and the other is this front wheel mount. So I really like pretty much any bike rack that has that front wheel mount, just because it's so much easier to mount and dismount your bike, and it fits more bikes that way. So like what we have here is our women's bike. Notice how that frame goes down. If you had to use other bike racks, sometimes you'd have to get a frame adapter bar. That's the same issue for your kids' bikes and your step-through bikes. But with this, I don't have to worry about that. Also, if you had a carbon fiber frame bike, the traditional hooks on those bike racks could possibly warp or damage the frame. With this, since it's securing it by the front wheel, again, not an issue for those carbon fiber frame bikes. Now you do have a weight capacity of 40 pounds per bike, which is slightly more than your regular bike rack that usually has a 35-pound capacity per bike. But our women's bike here is more than 35 pounds. It's 39. And with this, I can still carry it, which is great. So we'll take the bike off, but the first place we need to go to is going to be the rear wheel strap. So you're going to press this lever, pull up on that strap, and then just leave it over here to the side so it doesn't get tangled up in the spokes. Then you go over here to the front and you hold on to your bike. As you do so, you press this button, lift that hook up, push that out, and from there you can just grab your bike and you're ready to go on a bike ride. And with our bike out of the way, we get to take a closer look at the bike rack. So here in the back, we have our rear cradle. So notice that it's actually a small cradle with some different grooves on the inside. So whether you have your thinner bike tires or your wider bike tires, you can carry it as long as it's within a 3-inch tire width. This strap goes down, secures that wheel. Notice how this pivots back and forth. That's going to be for your different wheelbases. So the longest wheelbase you can carry is this, with this down, going to be 47 inches long. Let's go over here to the front. You have our front wheel cradle, and this just folds down to be nice, compact, and neat. That's pretty much the entire theme of the Kuat Sherpa. Everything's just minimalistic. It's all nice, it's all elegant, it's all classy. Like our front wheel mount, I talked about how much I like it. That folds down as well and folds down here for a more compact position. Now, let's talk about the length added to the back of our vehicle, because anything on our hitch is going to add some length. How much does the Kuat Sherpa add to our Audi SQ5? So measuring from our bumper, the furthest point is going to be right over here, and it sits at 31 3/4 inches. So you have a compact SUV, so you're already taking up less space than usual. But whenever you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a tight spot, don't forget that now you have a bike rack as well as bikes behind you. Now let's talk about ground clearance. Ground clearance is measured from underneath the bike rack to the ground, 21.5 inches. Underneath the shank to the ground, it's 12 inches. So the hitch on this vehicle is actually kind of higher than some of your smaller sedans or your smaller SUVs, so that's really good. But still, Ground clearance is important whenever you go up the steep inclines, like your driveways or your hills. Your front will go up, your back will go down, and with a shank rise like what we have here, your bikes sit higher up off the ground. But what if you're not planning to take your bikes out for a ride, but you also don't want to take your bike rack off? What you can do is to fold this up into a portable or compact position. To do so, remember that lever we pulled earlier? Pull that lever again, and then this folds up just like that. So let's take some measurements with it in this position. The first thing we're going to take a look at is the closest point. Measuring from the bumper to our front wheel mount, we have a clearance of 3¼ inches. So that's plenty of clearance, plus it's a super sturdy bike rack, so it's not getting any closer than that. Length now added in this position is going to be bumper to the tray, 7 inches. It does stick out further over here by the knob though, and that is 13½ inches. So big difference compared to when this is folded down. You'll definitely want it in this position when you're just planning on driving around town. One thing to note too, with it folded up like this, is look at where that lever is. You could just step on it with your foot, bring this bike rack down while you hold your bike. Super convenient. But what's it like living with this bike rack behind you? Well, if you face the back or facing from the back, you can see how our rear window is completely visible. That way you can see out of that. You also have your taillights visible, and your license plate sits right over here, kind of where that arm is, and then your backup camera is slightly off, is in the middle. Now, with the backup camera system of your vehicle though, it's very, very technologically advanced. You have all kinds of sensors, you have all kinds of cameras around you, so you will still be able to see behind you, especially through the mirror. This may set off some sensors, so that's just something to keep in mind. Now the bike rack I have has a 2-inch shank. You can get the Sherpa in 2 different sizes. They work the exact same way, but I got the one with a 2-inch shank because we have a 2-inch hitch receiver. So make sure you get the right one for the right hitch receiver. We have a hitch pin and a lock, and that lock is key to the cable lock that goes around your bikes and into the bike rack. That way you only need to use one key to access the whole system. And while you're using keys, you're using locks, you don't need to use any tools, because all you need to do is pop this bike rack into the hitch. It's actually a relatively light bike rack. I was able to install it all by myself, and then I just tighten down this knob. So this knob extends a ball cam on the inside of the hitch receiver, creating an anti-rattle effect. So let's do a quick shake test just to demonstrate that. As I shake the bike rack back and forth, just to kind of show that road sway and road movement, notice how I'm just moving the car at this point. That is because the connection between the bike rack and the hitch receiver is secure, making for a smoother ride for your bikes overall. Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners or evasive maneuvers. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or a pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Now lastly, we're going over some full speed bumps, and we can see here the up and down action. And this will just be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or driveway. So we can see here how the bike rack moves with our truck. So remember that the Kuat Sherpa has different color options as well. What I have is the Kuat Sherpa in gray with our nice orange accents, but you can also get this in metallic black or in pearl. Whatever color your vehicle is, it's nice to know you can get the bike rack to match. You don't have any differences when it comes to the features or how it works. It's just a color difference. Another thing about this bike rack is you can't add on. If you want a bike rack that can add on and has all those nice features, you might want to take a look at the Kuat NV. You can add up to 4 bikes with that bike rack. This one, you're stuck with 2. You also have a 40-pound weight capacity, so if you have extra heavy electric bikes, probably not going to be the best fit for you. But for most of your bikes, like my women's bike you saw earlier, it's a perfect match. And that was a look right here at our Kuat Sherpa 2.0 2 bike rack, right here on our 2020 Audi SQ5.